Hello and welcome to this content video, which is an introduction to travel writing, presented by Dr. Boutirna Dounia, Department of English Language and Literature, Mulud Mamri, University of Tizi Ouzou. In this video, we are going to learn the basics of travel writing. Therefore, first we are going to deal with definition of travel writing, then travel writing and the author, then characteristics of travel writing, types of travel writing, and finally subgenres of travel writing. It is important to mention that travel writing is a difficult genre to classify because it shares in so many other genres: autobiographies, histories, personal narratives, accounts of exploration, and tales of epic quests. Travel writing derives from and adds to each of these forms. Travel writing has always been as much about the exploration of the self and the other, as well as about the places visited. Travel writers and critics of the genre have often argued that the destination is of relatively little consequence. It is the process of travel, the work, that is the true subject of the travel writer. What definition can we give of travel writing? According to Carl Thompson, the term is a loose generic label since it has always adopted a various range of material, especially in its earlier manifestations. As a result of this intrinsic heterogeneity, travel writing has always retained a complex and confounding relationship with any number of closely related, often overlapping genres. In travel writing, Carl Thompson defines the narrative offered by the travel book as, I quote, a retrospective, first-person account of the author's own experience of a journey, or of an unfamiliar place or people. What is more, the personal or subjective aspect of that narrative is often very pronounced, as we are made aware not just of the places being visited, but also of the author's response to that place and his or her impressions, thoughts, and feelings. End of the quote. Through this definition, we understand that all travel involves an encounter between self and other that is brought about by a movement through space. Hence, all travel writing is at some level a record or product of this encounter and of the negotiation between similarity and difference that it entailed. Sometimes the encounter will be described directly in the writing, which will accordingly offer a narration of the events that occurred during the writer's travels. In other instances, the encounter itself will only be implicit in the writing, as it offers an account not of the actual traveling, but of just the new perspectives or the new information acquired through travel. Travel narratives are accounts of journeys which offer information about the ethnographic, biogeographic, and physical characteristics of a particular area. The major and most common characteristics include the following. 1. They are mostly prose narratives. 2. They are based mostly on non-fictional actual events. 3. They are utilitarian since they give information about distant and unknown places and people. 4. They are entertaining because the travelers are storytellers and therefore they afford their narratives with literacy and aesthetics to captivate the attention of the readers. There are many ways to categorize the genre. One of the most useful ways to classify travel writing is to rely on Paul Fussell's sketched framework published in his study entitled Abroad. His primary interest was the travel book, against which he contrasted the guidebook. Fussell investigated the book form and primarily categorized travel writing in two main types, depending on its practical or literary intent. Carl Thompson discusses this further in his book Travel Writing. The categorical question is to ask whether the writing aims to be promotional, helpful, or practical. If the answer is yes, this is commercial travel writing. So the first type is commercial travel writing. Its aim is to market, to promote, to serve, and help tourists and travelers have better experiences. Readers consume it for its practical information. It often has ties to the larger travel and tourism industry. Commercial travel writing can take the form of guidebooks, top 10 lists, best of lists, articles, destination pieces, itineraries, journalism, restaurant and hotel reviews, side trip suggestions, marketing copy, and other service oriented articles. If the goal is to inspire travel, to give counsel or advice, to help, to serve, to offer pointers and tips, or to help others figure out where to go, what to do, or what to eat, then this is commercial travel writing. The second type is literary travel writing. Its aim is to entertain. Readers consume it for pleasure and for its aesthetic merit. Literary travel writing can take the shape of books, novels, memoirs, articles, poems, journals and diaries, journalism, personal essays, travelogues, blog posts, and other more experimental forms of writing. If the goal is to tell a story, to entertain, to humor, or to express a fundamental truth about humanity, then this is literary travel writing. Like all the literary genres, there is a variety of subgenres in travel books that depend on not just the content of the book, but also how they are put together and organized, the relation of factual and fictional data, and so on. Here are the most known ones. 1. The travelogue. It is the prototypical travel book subgenre. In the travelogue, the author recounts the experience of traveling to or through some place. It is usually a step-by-step account or description of what the author saw, did, and experienced. 2. The quest. The author travels in search of something specific or to do something specific. It could involve searching for a physical object, achieving a goal, or reaching a destination. What drives the story here is the emphasis on something external to the author. 3. The adventure. In the adventure subgenre, the author pushes the boundaries of human endurance and strength, either mental and or physical. The adventure usually involves overcoming the limitations of the self. It includes feats of power, endurance, and strength. 4. The journey. The emphasis is on something personal in nature. This subgenre is like the quest, but an inner spiritual or emotional emphasis drives the story. It is more. 5. The expat experience. This travel book subgenre recounts the experiences of someone living or moving somewhere different from their home country. Unlike books about passing through a location temporarily, these books involve the author moving to a place for an indefinite period of time and revealing what it is like to move and or live there. 6. Gonzo journalism. The subgenre derives off of the investigation subgenre, but the author protagonist becomes a central part of the story. Gonzo journalism often has an eccentric, ridiculous, or comedic feel. 7. The investigation. The investigation is a subgenre of travel where the protagonist travels somewhere to solve a mystery or a puzzle. This could be a crime, disappearance, or an unsolved mystery. It could also have a journalistic or anthropological feel. 8. The big idea. A big idea or a central concept connects the material in these types of travel books. The narratives in these travel books do not always move chronologically. The chapters often bounce around independently. These books often use a destination or a series of destinations to illustrate, explain, or comment on a bigger idea or concept. In conclusion, this course objective is to introduce students to the literary genre of travel writing. It provides definitions to the genre according to some theorists. It also provides its types, characteristics, and subgenres, so a student would be able to identify literary narratives as travel narratives.